from Fortune.com, America's first ever project to study happiness and the meaning of life is happening in California. So in California, where the political regime, the establishment, the hack, the shills, these completely evil people have been hell-bent on creating nothing but chaos and misery for at least the past decade, they're now going to study why you don't like it. How come you're not happy? Why are you not on board with this insanity that we're foisting upon you? California Assemblyman Anthony Rendon likes to spend his spare time away from the Capitol in Sacramento with his 4-year-old daughter back home near Los Angeles. Last weekend, he took her ice skating into an indoor playground, then let her get a donut after she agreed to ride her. Okay, so they are starting this puff piece off by painting a picture of how amazing this assemblyman is. Those are the type of things that make me happy, he said this week in an interview outside the state assembly chambers, where he served as a lawmaker for a dozen years. So he was probably instrumental in creating the insanity that California is dealing with now. Now it's obviously been going on for decades, but it's really kicked into high gear, I don't know, in the past 6 or 8 years. Now Rendon, a Democrat who is one of the longest-serving assembly speakers in California history, is spending his last year in office trying to make happiness more central to policymaking. So that makes no sense, right? They want to create a law to stop the sun monster. They're going to force you to wear a mask and force you to get the pharmaceuticals. They're going to do all of these crazy things, right? And I guess at least with the mask, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was born from a kernel of truth. But now they're trying to study and regulate happiness in California, right? I mean, so while they're creating all of these crazy things, making these crazy rules, putting people out of business, and obviously they know what they're doing, but they're going to double and triple down and try to figure out, how come you're not happy? This is crazy. He created a first-in-the-nation group to study the issue called the Select Committee on Happiness. How is this even happening? And he's getting paid with tax dollars, apparently. Bro, you know what? How people could be happier if you lost your job and the majority of politicians in California just stepped away and left everybody alone. That would make people happy. This is crazy. Where was I? Which held its first public hearing this week. So the new Committee on Happiness just held a meeting. All right. It would be silly for lawmakers not to study how they can make people happier. No, it wouldn't. You don't have to study. You could just step away and leave people alone. Maybe fill a pothole. Maybe build a bridge, right? Maybe arrest the criminals. Maybe close the border and get the fentanyl out of the streets and, shut down the open air drug market that is overtaken San Francisco. That would make people. What do you think you're going to do? What do you think? We're going to raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour. Then people, what is this? I'm getting triggered. Because if we have everybody clothed, and there you go. We're just going to give away more stuff and everybody's going to be happier. We're going to usher in communism. That way people are going to be happier. Because if we have everybody clothed, everybody housed, everybody has a job, and they're miserable, then we have failed at what we're trying to do, he said, adding that lawmakers should think about happiness and prioritizing policymaking. Yeah, you didn't think about happiness when you were forcing pharmaceuticals on people? In California, 3/4 of adults say they are very happy or pretty happy, while 26% say they are not too happy, according to a September 2023 survey from the Public Policy Institute of California, another useless bureaucracy, I'm sure. Adults aged 18 to 34, people who are renters, those without a post-high school degree, and Californians with an annual household income of $40,000 or lower tend to be less happy. And there you go. We're going to give away more money. We're going to get... This is classic. They're trying to pretend like it's new. First in the nation study on happiness. Basically what they're saying is, we're going to give more crumbs to the poor people and that'll make them happy. I mean, it's classic. California is breaking new ground in the United States. At least 12 state legislatures in the nation have committees focused on mental health and substance abuse issues. And mental health, they're trying to weasel in there. It's their new thing, right? There's plenty of buzzwords, catchphrases, dystopian Democrat doublespeak euphemisms, but this new thing, and I'm not trying to say mental health issues don't exist, but it's clearly a wedge. Anytime something bad happens, unless it's, a big mean white person, they can say, oh, that, well, even then they're still going to use the mental health thing, but not really, right? So if a white person goes crazy, they're not going to say, oh, it was a mental health issue. They're going to say they're a criminal and they should be locked up for life, but not by the cops because we hate the cops. But they will constantly use when a dope fiend sleeping on Bart high on meth or crack, I don't know, meth probably keeps you up, but whatever. When these rabid individuals break into stores and break into cars, oh, it's just mental health issues. And then you look up the mental health facilities and it's all just weirdo LGBTQ propaganda that, of course, if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find is government funded. But I digress. Moving on. But no other state legislature has a committee devoted to happiness, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures. Another useless bureaucracy. And, of course, no other legislature has a committee devoted to happiness because they would quickly find that they are the first to go to make people happy. But the idea to consider happiness in public policy isn't unprecedented. The landlocked country of Bhutan in South Asia prioritizes happiness as a goal of public policy. Okay, so go there, right? They always want to play this game like, oh, well, this country's better and that country's better and they have different policies. Okay, then get up and leave, go. Literally nobody's stopping you, right? You love Haiti so much, go to Haiti. I mean, this is despicable. And how of course they knew this a long time ago. Of course they could have fixed this and told us the truth, but that's obviously not the point. The point is they are in their death throes of control, so they're throwing spaghetti at the wall, left, right, lawfare, racism, deplorable. It hasn't stopped for at least the past 6 or 8 years. And that, again, like I always say, you kind of have to give them credit for at least being, passionate about something as despicable and evil as it might be. But it goes on. The landlocked country of Bhutan in Southeast Asia prioritizes happiness as a goal of public policy, measuring it through something written into its constitution called the Gross National Happiness Index. The country surveys residents on their level of happiness, and officials work to increase happiness by providing residents with free healthcare and education, protecting cultural traditions, and preserving forests, said Norbu, Consul General, whatever. The government cannot make every person happy, but it should create the right conditions that will allow people to pursue happiness. Yeah, we already had that, but you're just saying we should give away more free stuff to make people happy. Lawmakers on California's new committee heard this week from experts about the things that make people happy. And here it is again. An expert on what makes people happy. What are you talking about? What does it take to become an expert on deciding what makes other people happy, right? And it's going to be quite clearly different for some people, right? Like there's some people who are going to say, I'm not going to be happy unless you cut my junk off. And there's some people who are going to say, not that. But what does it take to make an expert in that field? Anyways, it goes on. What public officials can do and what role state and local government can play. So the expert on public happiness is asking people what the government can do to make people happy, even though they're the ones that have caused most of the problems. Not all. Everybody has their own set of problems. But do you think for one split second that the regime in California is doing anything to help that? Absolute insanity. These are the type of people to steal from your house and help you look for what they stole. Create the problem, sell you the solution. It really doesn't get any more classic than that. But where did I leave off? The committee isn't set on any solutions yet, but plans to release a report with its findings after lawmakers adjourn for you know what? Here's your findings. I'll tell you the findings right now. Adjourn for the end of the year and never come back. It will be better for everybody instead of you in a boardroom twiddling your thumbs, pretending that you're talking about what makes people happy. Right? I mean, this is just crazy. They literally destroyed businesses, scared people into submission, and are now saying, well, what would make things better if you go away? This is absolutely crazy. So they don't have a solution yet, but that was after the lawmakers adjourned at the end of August, said Katie Talbot, Rendon's spokesperson. So Rendon, the man who is behind this wacky idea, couldn't even be bothered to show up. So he sends a spokesperson, and it's like, What do you do all day, bro? You're an assembly member. Like, you're probably not sending your own emails. You're probably not doing your own social media. You have outsourced everything and are just reaping the. I'm genuinely curious. Even as far up as like Nancy Pelosi, what do they do all day? They're out fundraising. They probably got somebody to do that. What do these people do? Right? Like, they just hire security because somebody spray paints on your garage. What's actually happening behind the curtain? It goes on. Assembly member Pilar Shivo, a Democrat representing part of the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, hopes the committee's work can address poor mental health among youth in California. Yeah, well, it's the same thing in New York. Back when I lived in Brooklyn and Bill de Blasio's wife ran off with $800 million, we never figured out where that money went to this day, but she was supposed to start a mental health line, but it's a catch-22 because you can call it and say, hey, what happened to the money, or why are you guys so corrupt? And they're just literally going to say, oh, you're crazy, right? So it's actually pretty smart thinking. But this other assembly member wants everybody to know that the Los Angeles committee members are working to make people happier by addressing mental health that they help to cause. It goes on. It's a true crisis that we have on our hands right now, Shivo says. This is really getting to the heart of what this crisis is about. And of course, everything is a crisis. Mental health and, long Rona and humanitarian and newcomers. It's all a crisis, which is true, but they quite literally helped to create these problems. Research demonstrates that leisure activities, social relationships, and life circumstances contribute to a person's happiness, said Melissa Demir, a professor of happiness at California State University, Sacramento. And then there was another recent story about how the CSU system is dwindling. Like, they're having a enrollment issue because you have professors of happiness. No, I mean, it's over. We can all see it now. And then there's the baseball, was it Steve Garvey, the quote unquote Republican who's running for Senate in California to replace the late Dianne Feinstein. And while he probably won't win, it is a pretty clear show that people know, and it's starting to happen. It's a step in the right direction. Same with Prop 1, which of course will probably pass because Governor Gavin Newsom will find out in the 2 weeks it takes to count votes exactly how many he's going to need to make sure that he gets control of $6 billion. And the bar is really low because it shouldn't be like this. But on the plus side, it is a step in the right direction. Public officials can work towards improving happiness by investing in mental health resources. More money. Give more money to the weirdo mental health LGBTQ facilities, and that's going to make everybody happy. It's so clearly a scam. I truly do not know how anybody can be buying what they're selling at this point. Investing in mental health resources, making green spaces more accessible, and teaching about the value of happiness early on in schools. What? Okay, so throw money at some weirdo mental health facility, create more parks, I guess, making green space. What? And teaching about the value of happy. This is actually crazier than I thought it was going to be. It's like almost a circular definition. Like, well, what is a woman? A woman is a person who identifies as a woman. Well, what is happiness? Well, happiness is teaching about happiness. This is crazy. Happiness has wide-ranging benefits that include making people more likely to vote, more creative, and healthier. Okay. The Public Policy Institute of California's September survey found that 33% of adults overall say that they are very satisfied with their job. 31% say they are very satisfied with their leisure activities, and 44% are very satisfied with their housing. Californians' level of happiness decreased during the pandemic. Oh, you don't think? And there you go. That's another thing. I mean, that's classic, right? We created this. Your happiness went down, and now we're going to try to fix. I mean, this. You would think that this is the oldest trick in the book. They wouldn't be able to get away with it anymore, but here we are. But experts are researching. Can you name some of them? Can you tell us who the expert is so we can look into, all of their hard-hitting scientific research and journalism to find out why they should be considered an expert on anything. They're still researching the decline, said Mark. Okay, I guess they're giving us a name. Mark Baldassari, the group's survey director. Okay, so are you kidding me? Maybe we could look into Mark a little bit later, but they're saying that the level of happiness decreased during the pandemic, and experts are researching why. That could quite literally be the most obvious thing ever. It's because you destroyed businesses, schools, you shut down businesses, they destroyed everything, to say the least, especially in California. And they need an expert to figure out why. Kind of like they need a doctor to tell you to wear a 3 mask, or they need a lawyer to tell you that nobody is above the law, which of course, it's all completely fake. California, which is often ahead of other states on issues such as climate policy and civil rights, is behind many parts of the world in prioritizing happiness and policy making. Oh, so they are force-feeding people climate policy and weirdo race-baiting civil rights, and it's not directly correlating to happiness? Who could have imagined? He was inspired to create the Happiness Committee in part by a report on happiness released annually by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. So quite literally everything is fake. Last year's report said that how people view the effectiveness of government, including how well it raises money, delivers services, and avoids civil war, can influence their happiness. Oh, okay, so how effective the government is, how it raises money, meaning taxes people, and how it delivers services like, filling potholes and building bridges and avoiding civil war, which clearly they have not done, and we are in the middle of it right now. All of that stuff can influence their happiness, which, if you look from the top down, who's in charge, there's your study right there. I just did the study for you, right? And I get it. There's so much more to a person's happiness than the president, but by the metrics that they set, he's quite literally the regime, the establishment, because Beau Jordan is clearly an empty suit. But whatever's happening from the top down is destroying all that, and they're the people to fix the problem. The audacity, right? It's just like Fannie Willis and Tish James. Like, Fannie Willis thought that she could literally get away with trying to take down Orange Man while she was flying around the country and the world with her boyfriend. And same thing with Tiffany Henyard. They've gotten so brazen. It's so obvious that, there comes a point where we're now just debating on whether voting is real or not, right? Because everybody can see it. And quite clearly, everybody knows what's happening. So are they going to go back to the drawing board and come up with an idea that people like? Or are they going to steamroll everybody with even more corruption and call you the racist, crazy person for questioning even a tiny bit of it? Okay. The United States was 15th in a world happiness ranking based on a 3-year average from 2020 to 2022, according to the report. They should hyperlink some of this stuff too. They drop names, but okay, there is one hyperlink down at the bottom there. But based on a 3-year, Scandinavian countries, including Finland and Iceland, ranked the highest. Oh, well, why isn't it Haiti or Venezuela? Why aren't they ranking higher? Rendon's decision to create the Happiness Committee aligns with his approach to making state policy that focuses on big picture social issues. Longtime labor lobbyist Christina Boss Hamilton said, "People have different perspective on government involvement in their lives, but the creation of the committee invokes the ultimate purpose of government." She said, that's absolutely wrong. The purpose of government is literally just pave the roads, fill the potholes, build the bridges, right? What are you talking about happiness? for the millionth time, the way to make people happy is to fix the problem, stay out of people's lives, and go away. You don't have to say, "Oh, how come you're not happy? How come you're not happy? Tell us how we can make you happy." I mean, this is absolutely crazy. People have different. Yeah, government's role is to provide for its people. The goal is to have happy citizens. That's the goal of all public policy. Yes, which I guess is technically correct, but for some reason they truly, I don't know, I think they probably know what's going on here, but they're pretending that they don't realize they are totally the problem. This is crazy, but I guess par for the course at this point.